Hey girl, hey! I am Jamia Ponder, host and creator of The Mrs. Beside, a safe space dedicated to the real ones standing beside and never behind. Girl, this life ain't no joke. It's time, let's air it all out. Trust me, I understand. Whoo child, I know it's a lot. So, as promised, I am here to shed a little bit of light about who I am. I am, of course, Jamia Ponder and the Mrs. Beside the MD. My husband, Desmond, is a recent med school graduate. Praise the Lord. And I am the mom of 3 wonderful children when they want to be. My oldest is 12. Madison, and then I have a middle little firecracker. I like to call her Mackenzie, and she's 7. And then our son Maddox is 6, and he is all boy. Okie doke. So I'm gonna just let that sizzle and simmer right there. But we've been married for almost 9 years, but together 13, almost 14. And let me just tell you that of the 13 years that we've been together, all 13 of them, he's wanted to be a doctor, right? But it took 9 of them, before he even started med school. And so that was a lot of years of encouragement, a lot of years spent doing the prep work that it takes to get into med school. And so it was not an easy path by any means. And so when he finally was admitted to med school in 2016, it was conditionally. And at that, he had to make a sudden job shift. He had to enroll into this sort of pre-med school program where they assess your readiness for med school because his test scores were not very strong. So fast forward to about not even 2 weeks ago, and he finally graduated medical school. And I'm going to tell y'all, I get a little bit choked up still thinking about it because it has been, for real, a journey. And over the course of this season, I'll share bits and pieces of our story as time goes on and as things unfold. However, what led me to start this podcast was something happened. And we'll delve into that in a little bit. But something happened and I thought that I was over it. And I wasn't, right? So I'm like, I need to get some help. So I started to see a counselor. And in our very first session, she asked me 2 questions. She came for me. She asked me 2 questions. 1, what was I most proud of? And then 2, who I was. So for the first question, she gave me stipulations. Obviously, she was like, it cannot involve anybody else. You need to tell me what you are most proud of. Y'all, I did not have an answer for this woman. Everything else that I had done that I was proud of, for the most part, involved somebody else. I didn't have anything. So I was mad about that. I'm like, I don't have anything like that I'm specifically proud of. Like, graduate, get your degree, okay. It's fine. But when you ask somebody what they are most proud of, I'm like, I don't know. So I was like, okay, next question. So then she hit me with, who am I? And I was like, you don't have any what's your sign? How old are you? When is your birthday? Like them, I can answer. I'm a Pisces. I like long walks on the beach. I don't know. I don't know. Who am I? And so I got ready to answer her, right? And she hit me with, before you answer, I'm like, trick. You're trying to come for me for real. But she was like, before you answer, I already know you're a mom. I know you're a wife. I know you're somebody's daughter. I want to know who you are. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't know who I am. And that is a problem. That's a problem. So I started to do some self-discovery, and in the midst of feeling extremely proud of my husband, like super duper duper proud, and happy, it also came with this indescribable pain because I realized that I had nothing for myself for 9 years, but more specifically for the last 4 years. His degree, this journey, this call to higher heights or whatever you want to call it, it was built on my back. And so if anything, God forbid, and I'm not saying that it will, but the reality is that those credentials belong to him. And, he's extremely, I know, very much grateful for the sacrifices that I've made. But the reality is the MD belongs to him. It is nothing that can ever be taken away from him. And so I wanted something for me. I wanted something that I could call my own. And so that's really a turning point for me. And then figuring out, who am I? And so this podcast came about. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and she's been with us for this entire journey. And she's like, you should start a podcast. I'm like, oh, Jesus wept. A podcast? How am I going to start a podcast? Who wants to listen to me? And so my little friends, Fear and Doubt, came up, and they're like, yeah, right? Who wants to talk? Who wants to hear what you got to say? Like, you don't have all the credentials. You don't have all the degrees. You don't. What, did you write a book or something? Did we didn't know about? Like, what makes you the benchmark for success? Right? You still live in an apartment. Y'all ain't got but one car. All of the things that we typically attribute to success, I have none of. And so I'm like, maybe you're right. I don't really have any of those things, right? But what I do have is experience. What I do offer is my authenticity. And what I do know is that to support your spouse through any measure of greatness, it takes a lot of you. And so, with that being said, I had to push past my fear. And so, as I learn things and as I go on, I'm going to also encourage and challenge you to push past your fear. Find that thing that is burning within you. Reignite your passion. If you pray, pray. If you meditate, meditate. Whatever it is that gets you to some place of centeredness, some footing that you can rest your feet on and gain your balance again, because I was caught up in just the round robin of things, right? You get up, you go to work, you take care of your kids if you have them, or you tend to your husband, or you tend to your family, or you're spending your days working and all of these things. But what are you giving back to yourself? And it doesn't have to be some big grandiose thing, right? But there is something that each of us are called and created to do. There is a burning passion that's within each and every one of us, And so what is that thing? We're challenging our kids, we're challenging our friends to push and go and do. But what about for yourself? And so I had to push past that and realize that God created me to do something magnificent in this earth, and those who he calls, he qualifies. So with that being said, that is a little bit about me and how I arrived to this point. And so over the season, again, I'll give you glimpses into my life. There have been lots of other things that have happened. And again, I'll continue to share those as they unfold. So I would encourage you to rely on yourself. I'm going to give you guys a funny story. Okay. It wasn't funny at the time. There was this challenge going on that I saw. I think it's called a flip challenge or something. This is a lesson in trust, by the way. So there's this flip challenge, right? So I want you to close your eyes and imagine two people facing each other. It's typically like a husband and a wife facing each other. And then you are going to bend over and you are going to put both of your hands through your legs. Okay. And your husband is going to reach over the top of you, and he's going to grab your hands and essentially flip you over, right? It looked so cool. Oh my God. So that's my husband like maybe 3 or 4 times. Hey, can we do that flip challenge? I want to do the flip challenge. I want to do the flip challenge. And so finally he agreed. So we went out onto the deck and we tried it. The first time it wasn't so great, right? We didn't really know what we were doing. Tried it again and I was like, okay. I stood up. I was like, all right, I trust you. And so this time I decided I was really going to trust him and just like let go. Because the first couple of times I kind of like tried to, catch it on my own. So I hope you guys have the visual in your head. So I'm bent over. I have my hands stuck between my legs. And then he reaches over, grabs my hands with his hands. And I said, I trust you. And we attempted to do this flip. And I landed directly on top of my head. When I tell you I didn't know if I was paralyzed, I wasn't sure if I still had full use of my legs. It was not funny. So my husband, who is a recent med graduate physician, is standing over me trying to assess whether or not he now has invalid on his hands and trying to figure out how in God's name is he going to explain this to my parents, the fact that our hands slipped and I ended up on top of my head. So he sees me rolling around. I'm sort of rolling back and forth and I'm like, I trusted you. I trusted you. And he's like, oh my God, are you okay? Obviously not wanting to laugh. So about 15 minutes goes by and I go from crying to hysterically laughing, yelling out. I literally hit the deck. Y'all, I was screaming, tears coming down my face. He was like, oh my God, she's delirious. Madison, call the ambulance. I'm like, do not call the ambulance. Do not want this ambulance coming in the alley. There is corona outside. I'm not going to the hospital, okay? You're not going to catch me. It's not going to happen. I'm sitting with an ice pack on my head and my neck. My scalp was red. It was a catastrophe. Moral of the story, every TikTok challenge is not for you, sis. It's not for you. Maybe my COVID-15 caught up with me. I don't know. The thing is, I'm on fruits and vegetables now. Anyway, I will check you guys on the next episode. Love you dearly. Love you to life. And I'll forever encourage you. You guys have a great day. And I'll chat with you soon. Bye.